For 15 long years, I bore the label of the family failure, until that fateful day when they boarded my private jet and discovered the truth. I was a billionaire. Join us for more tales where the overlooked emerge victorious and fortunes shift dramatically. The annual Thompson family barbecue invitation lay untouched on my marble kitchen counter. Its bold red script, illuminated by the warm embrace of the Arizona sunrise filtering through my glass walls. After a decade and a half of silence, separation, and intentional obscurity, everything was on the brink of coming undone, and not out of desire. I cast my eyes upon my phone once more, absorbing the headline that altered the course of my life. Leah Thompson, a notable figure in the realm of virtual design, has established an empire now, valued at an impressive $4 billion, earning her a spot on the prestigious Forbes 30 Under 40 list. The article is set to be released tomorrow, just 2 days ahead of the reunion. Well, there goes the plan to remain inconspicuous. Is it Thompson? The voice of my assistant resonated through the intercom. Line 1 holds your brother Chris. Once more. Certainly. He had been reaching out ever since the media frenzy erupted. I let out a weary sigh and reached for it. Hello, Chris. What on earth, Leah? He let out a sharp bark. I've just concluded a conversation with CNBC. Is it CNBC? They inquired about the experience of being the sibling of a billionaire. Would you care to elucidate something for me? From my Scottsdale penthouse, I gazed out at the vast desert skyline. It seems you'll discover it alongside everyone else. Enough with the nonsense. His voice took on an edge. You allowed us to think you were destitute for years. Mother believed you were finding refuge on the couch. Were they filled with concern? I remarked, a chuckle escaping my lips. Are you referring to all those discussions about how I was squandering my potential? Is that sarcasm I detect? What are the beneficial recommendations for pursuing a position at Uncle Mark's insurance agency? They were merely attempting to offer assistance. They were attempting to shape me, and you allowed them to do so. Stillness. Chris, the favored one, graduated from Harvard with an MBA and stepped into my father's accounting firm at the age of 23. Questioning was never part of the equation. How long, Leah? At long last, he posed the question. I strolled to the balcony, observing as one of my 3 Teslas glided into the driveway beneath me. Do you recall the time I settled into that dilapidated apartment close to Tempe? Chris came to a halt, yet he chose not to. Indeed, I declared to the empty space around me, a smirk playing on my lips. Many believed I had lost my mind when I chose to abandon a finance degree in favor of pursuing graphics, just as my father often remarked. Yet, what remained hidden from all of you was the fact that I had already sold my inaugural VR sculpture collection for a staggering $60,000. $60,000. In those days. Earlier, Chris had seemed utterly taken aback. Indeed, 6 months later, I successfully sold another batch for $200,000. As Dad proclaimed during the Christmas dinner that I was merely in the process of figuring things out, I had already crossed the $1 million threshold. I could envision Chris at this moment, his eyes narrowing as he calculated the numbers in his mind. Yet you still turned to Mom and Dad for a loan to cover the rent. You navigated the roads in that worn-out Civic until just last year. I found myself laughing. I have never taken out a loan, Chris. I requested their investment. Within me, within the confines of my organization, they declined. With great volume. What about that Civic? A decision. Just as this Scottsdale penthouse does. The Gulfstream G700 rested gracefully in a private hangar nestled in the heart of downtown. Chartered aircraft? He whispered, his voice trembling. Pray tell, just how affluent are you precisely? The disbelief seeped through his meticulously crafted tone, revealing the cracks beneath the surface. I reminisced about those dinners where I felt like a ghost, the kind-hearted yet financially struggling sibling. Tessa, our youngest, would dramatically cover the bill, lamenting about the hardships I must endure. I remarked that Forbes would print $7.2 billion. However, that is quite humble. The actual number is nearer to 10. The sound that escaped Chris was a curious blend of a gasp and a faint scream. I must dive into a board meeting, I added with a casual air. Looking forward to seeing you at the reunion? Tap. I directed my gaze to the intercom. Tap.
I directed my gaze to the intercom.
"Samantha, is everything prepared?" "Indeed, Miss Thompson," she replied. "The jet stands ready, fueled and poised for its journey. The fleet of Rolls-Royce vehicles is set to collect each family member. The venue is locked in. The private island is officially confirmed, and all NDAs have been duly signed. Flawless. I found myself holding the reunion invitation once more. For 15 years I had allowed them to confine me. The peculiar soul, the visionary, the fiscal letdown. Yet, on this occasion, this time, they would witness the true essence of who I am. The soft vibration of my phone broke the silence. "Tessa, oh my gosh, Leah, this Forbes situation, please tell me it's just a joke." "What is happening?" I smiled and chose not to respond. It's amusing how those who remain silent often catch everyone off guard. Tessa, ever eager to boast of her triumphs in the corporate world, often contrasted her success with her older sister's ongoing quest for self-discovery in the realm of art. The intercom emitted another buzz. "Is Miss Thompson present? Your parents are both on the line." I carried on without hesitation. "Please inform them that I am currently in a meeting." I cast a fleeting look at my Cartier watch. "And what of Samantha?" "Contact the helipad." I believe I shall opt for the helicopter to reach the board meeting today. As I collected my belongings, tablet, sunglasses, notes for the upcoming pitch deck, my thoughts wandered to the moment when everything transformed. It was the moment I chose to shroud my achievements in silence. 15 years prior, 3 design lacks the essence of true artistry. Leah. Father had dismissed the notion with a scoff from across the dinner table. "What about this crypto art phenomenon?" he remarked, his eyes narrowing. "It's a deceitful scheme. It is unlikely that anyone in a sound state of mind would invest in computer-generated absurdities." At the age of 22, newly graduated from Wharton, I found myself at Sunday dinner in my parents' sprawling estate in Phoenix, attempting to articulate a vision that they were reluctant to embrace. "They didn't invest in an Ivy League education for me to merely dabble in pixels. Actually, Dad, I just sold my first collection for..." "Enough," he snapped, interrupting. "You can either join us at the firm as we discussed, or you'll have to navigate this path alone. Without support, there exists no safety net, merely a stark severance." My mother bestowed upon me her signature patronizing smile, extending her hand across the table to gently pat mine. "Alas, darling, our concern comes from a place of care. What you require is a framework, a foundation, a genuine path forward in your professional journey." The piercing gaze of Dad, the measured sympathy from Mom, the heavy quiet from Chris, and the knowing smirk of Tessa. That was the defining moment. I kept to myself the $50,000 I had already earned, the 3 immersive galleries vying for my attention, and the venture capital firms that inundated my inbox each day. "You're right," I replied, rising to my feet. "I shall unravel this mystery by myself." After a fortnight, I settled into a compact studio in Tempe, reminiscent of a shoebox. They believed I was destitute, too proud to seek assistance. Yet I was silently constructing a digital empire. In the first year, ruthless, days stretching to 18 hours crafting code into art, forging connections driven by an insatiable ambition that knows no sleep. My inaugural major collection, Neon Syntax, vanished within a mere 6 hours. What are the total earnings? $1,200,000. I poured every penny back into the venture, enlisted the expertise of engineers, constructed innovative platforms, and transformed the very essence of digital ownership. Yet, each time I returned to my roots, identical Civic, worn denim, a serene smile. "Allow me to assist with the rent," Mother would say. "No, thank you," I would respond. "I am faring quite well." I was beyond fine. At the conclusion of that inaugural year, my network had surpassed the remarkable milestone of $10 million. By the 3rd year, I had discreetly crossed the $100 million mark. Yet to my family, I remained simply Leah, the dreamer, the sister who squandered her promise. 15 years later, as I ascended into my private helicopter perched atop my Scottsdale building, I reflected on how that seemingly innocuous white lie had blossomed into a billion-dollar secret. In just 2 days, the course of everything would shift dramatically. Once more, my phone vibrated, signaling a message from Dad. "It is imperative that we engage in a conversation." I smirked and switched off the phone. I smirked and switched off the phone. He would need to bide his time. After a decade and a half of patronizing remarks and veiled worry, they were on the brink of discovering the reality, and I was determined to etch it into their memories forever. The Forbes article was released precisely at 6 a.m. ST, with black coffee cradled in my hand and my laptop aglow. I found myself awake in my stylish home office, where a wall of monitors flickered to life, illuminating the chaos unfolding in real time. A revolutionary force in the realm of digital artistry. How Leah Thompson subtly constructed a 10 billion empire, directly beneath the headline, a photograph I have personally endorsed. Here I stand before my acclaimed VR gallery, adorned in a bespoke couture ensemble that surpasses Tessa's yearly earnings. The article went beyond merely disclosing my wealth. It charted the empire I had constructed in quietude, the technological platforms, the alliances, the auctions, the financiers. My phone burst into life. Tessa, hold on. Is this truly happening? $10 billion. Chris, I mentioned to you that something was amiss yesterday. Mother Leah, my dear, I kindly ask you to give me a call. Father, surely this must be an error, a typographical oversight. Aunt Leela, is our Leah the same as Leah Thompson? I silenced the chat and turned my attention to my inbox. A multitude of interview requests, investment pitches, and invitations to TED Talks. Yet, one email captured my attention, sent by my father's enduring business associate, Martin Delgado. Leah, I sense there could be significant advantages in investigating potential collaborations between Thompson Interactive and Delgado Capital. I recognize that your father might have held some reservations in the past, yet I can assure you that we are open to change and growth. I found myself laughing out loud. 3 years prior, I proposed a collaboration to them. Martin fixed his gaze on me, unwavering, and declared, "We do not take chances on fleeting online fads." The intercom emitted a sharp buzz. "Miss Thompson, your mother awaits you in the lobby. She is rather persistent." I accessed the security feed. There she stood, Elaine Thompson, flawless as always in her bespoke Chanel, engaging in a heated debate with security as if her very existence hinged on the outcome. "Let her up," I sighed. It is time to confront the initial wave of the tempest. As I gaze out over the majestic Arizona mountains, sunlight streams through the expansive glass walls, illuminating the space. Behind me, a Keith Haring original graces the wall, its value surpassing that of my parents' entire home. "Leah," my mother whispered, her voice trembling as she entered the penthouse completely. "What is this? What is this all about?" "This is my true home, Mom," I said with a serene demeanor, offering her a steaming cup of coffee, not the humble little condo I reserve for family visits. She drifted toward the expansive windows that reached from floor to ceiling, the sound of her heels resonating against the gleaming marble floors. Yet, how is that possible? When will it be? "For how long have you been residing in this manor?" 15 years, I responded, resting against the kitchen island. "Ever since that evening when you and Dad dismissed digital art as merely a fleeting trend, something unworthy of serious consideration." She pivoted with deliberate grace, her meticulously crafted visage now shrouded in a veil of bewilderment. "And there was another element that eluded my grasp. Yet, we witnessed your struggle. The cramped apartment, that aging Civic, pleading for assistance with the rent. A faint smile flickered across my lips. I never sought assistance with my rent. I requested that you both consider investing in my company. A distinction exists. And the apartment, the car, all woven into the fabric of the illusion. I embodied the character you envisioned, the shattered dreamer, the one adrift. That was the sole iteration of myself you ever embraced." Her lips parted, a silent expression of disbelief etched across her face. "You deceived us, Leah, for a decade and a half." "No," I said softly. "I simply refrained from rectifying the narrative you all opted to accept. Your certainty in my failure blinded you to the truth beneath the surface." She descended gradually into one of my bespoke leather chairs, her posture yielding to gravity. After many years, she finally bore the marks of her age. "Is there anyone else who is aware?" "Only Chris," I remarked. "He discovered the news when the press release was issued. It seems he made an attempt to caution you." She inclined her head in agreement. He made the call. Your father suggested it could be an error involving a different Leah Thompson. As I approached my desk, I extended a folder toward her. This is the proposal I presented to my father 3 years prior. Had he chosen to invest the $1 million I proposed, his stake would now be valued at more than $100 million. Her hands quivered with a subtle intensity. She murmured that you were seeking a handout, that your art had faltered, and you took his words to heart. She remained silent. Have any of you ever attended one of my exhibitions? Search for my name on Google. Silence reigns. I glanced back at the window, observing the vibrant activity of the city beneath me. The family reunion is still happening, but I've altered the venue. I acquired the whole resort for public use. All will be transported in Rolls-Royces, whisked away on my jet, and we shall revel on my private island. Your island, my mother echoed, her voice scarcely rising above a whisper. In the Caribbean, I mentioned nonchalantly. I acquired it last year following the completion of my first billion-dollar deal. I pivoted to meet her gaze completely. This time, I refused to be the silent observer at the dinner table, listening as others boast about their promotions and new real estate ventures. I have a few thoughts to share as well. She rose gradually, her fingers delicately gliding over the fabric of her silk skirt, betraying a hint of nervousness. Is it your father? When he observes all of this, her voice wavered. He will be left with no option but to acknowledge the truth that his daughter, the one in her artistic phase, created something grander than anything the Thompson legacy had ever known. I offered a soft smile. And mother, this is merely the outset. I escorted her to the elevator, lingering for a moment just before the doors slid open. And there's just one more detail to consider. Recall that Bentley you've longed for. The one that father deems excessively impractical. A one that father deems excessively impractical. She gazed at me, a look of confusion etched across her face. Last month I acquired 3 of them, I remarked with a casual shrug, simply for the sake of it. The doors glided shut, sealing away her astonished visage. Once she departed, I activated the intercom. Samantha, is everything set for the reunion? Indeed, Miss Thompson, she responded with a graceful ease. The staff on the island have been thoroughly informed. Every guest will be presented with a bespoke folder that chronicles each investment opportunity they have turned down throughout the years, accompanied by the latest valuations. The video timeline showcasing your achievements has been completed and is now prepared for the welcome dinner. Outstanding. I reached for my phone, navigated to the family group chat, and composed a solitary message. I eagerly anticipate the joy of reuniting with everyone at the reunion. Attire yourself suitably for a secluded island retreat. Transportation shall be arranged. With a swift motion, I refreshed the stock dashboard on my laptop. The value of my company has soared since the publication of the Forbes article. Another billion has been added to my net worth before the dawn break. I envisioned my father, likely seated in his office at this very moment, grappling with the realization that the daughter he once overlooked has silently risen to become one of the wealthiest women in America. My mind wandered to Tessa, who continued to boast about her 6-figure salary and her beach house in the Hamptons. Oblivious to the reality around her, I could easily purchase her whole existence with merely a week's worth of interest. What about this reunion? It promised to be an experience etched in memory. The familiar buzz of my phone interrupted the silence once more. A note from father. It is essential that we have a conversation prior to the reunion. There are matters that deserve the sanctuary of private conversation. I responded in writing. All matters will be addressed at the reunion, Dad. Isn't that the very purpose of reunions? Revealing our achievements? Once again, I reached out to Samantha. Please instruct the design team to repaint the helipad. Ensure that my name stands out distinctly from above. The task has been completed. Miss Thompson, is there anything more? Samantha inquired over the line. I halted, reflecting on a decade and a half filled with scorn, derision, and the weight of being labeled the family's letdown. Indeed, ensure that the Forbes article is elegantly framed and displayed in each room throughout the island. I desire it to be the foremost sight that greets them, regardless of the direction they look. As I concluded the conversation, my gaze fell upon my reflection in the glass. Serene, self-assured, affluent beyond dreams, and at last prepared to reveal my true self to the world. The moment had arrived. The dawn of the Thompson family reunion broke with a clarity and brightness that promised a day full of memories. I found myself on the secluded runway of my Scottsdale airfield, observing as 3 sleek black Rolls-Royces glided in, one after the other. Their arrival had come to pass. The doors swung wide. First arrived my father, standing tall, his gaze still keen, yet the spark of his confidence had begun to fade. My mother trailed behind, her demeanor quieter than normal, a lingering echo of our earlier conversation still hanging in the air. Chris, Tessa, and a procession of aunts, uncles, and cousins followed closely, their expressions a blend of astonishment and subtle scrutiny. In the heart of it all, there awaited my jet-sleek white marvel, the Thompson Interactive, its fuselage adorned with brushed silver gleaming under the light. "Greetings to all," I proclaimed, allowing my voice to resonate. "I trust the journey was pleasant, Leah," my father said, stepping forward, attempting to assert his familiar authority once more. "This feels rather excessive. The resort could have sufficed quite well." A smile graced my lips. "The resort felt overly exposed, Dad. This reunion required a deeper significance. Upon my island." "What are you?" Tessa whispered under her breath, her grip tightening around her Dior bag. "Naturally, you possess an island." As they stepped onto the jet, I observed their eyes wander, absorbing the opulent gold-trimmed interior, the exquisite original artwork, and the glistening Dom Perignon served in crystal flutes. "Is that an authentic Picasso?" Aunt Lila murmured softly. "Indeed," I responded. "Acquired it last year." My father cleared his throat, a subtle prelude to the words that would follow. "Leah, perhaps it's time for us to have a conversation. Upon our arrival, we shall proceed. Until that moment arrives, savor the champagne," I remarked, raising my glass with a flourish. "The expense exceeds the total revenue your company generated in the last quarter." He recoiled. Flawless. 2 hours later, we glided down toward a shimmering gem in the sea, my 300-acre private island, where a lavish resort lay cradled at its core. Let the gathering commence. And there it stood, discernible from the heavens, just as envisioned. Leah Thompson, my name, emblazoned in letters so grand and striking, they might as well be visible from the heavens above. "So, Pi, what is it that you seek?" Tessa inhaled sharply, initially misinterpreting the name. "Ooh." In that moment, her jaw fell open in disbelief. Upon our descent, her whisper reached my ears. Naturally, she left her mark on the helipad. Enveloping the space were colossal digital displays, each showcasing a rotation of my most triumphant immersive art collections. The sale prices were clearly showcased: $2.30, $6.70, $11.50, all, each a declaration unto itself. "Welcome to Thompson Island," I declared, as I set foot on the tarmac, my personal haven of bliss. "Petite," Chris murmured, his eyes aglow with surprise. The resort complex that lay before them was a harmonious fusion of avant-garde design and pristine Caribbean allure. "All rooms are prepared," I continued. "Each suite holds a selection of reading material, ready for your perusal. Please take a moment to review it prior to dinner." The reading material was tailored to fit specific needs, a meticulously crafted timeline for Dad, detailing every deal he turned down, each opportunity lost, accompanied by annotations reflecting their current valuations. Tessa finds herself reflecting on the stark contrast between her yearly salary and the daily interest I accumulate. For Chris, an internal audit revealing the extent of his firm's losses from declining a partnership with my platform. I allowed them an hour to find their footing. Next, I called them to the grand dining hall, a room adorned with glass walls that offered a breathtaking view of the turquoise waves beyond. The elongated table gleamed with crystal, silver, and place settings that surpassed the value of many automobiles. Upon each wall, the Forbes article stands framed and illuminated, an undeniable presence that commands attention. They stepped inside with deliberate slowness, the facade of their earlier confidence slipping away. Even their meticulously crafted ensembles appeared strangely incongruous in this setting. "Please, have a seat,"
I said with a warm smile.
We possess. There is much to discuss. Leah. Dad started, trying to navigate the conversation with care. I believe I voiced the sentiments of everyone when I expressed that we are astonished. Are you taken aback? I echoed with a gentle chuckle.
Well, what did you, Jay?
I don't feel anger about having withheld this from you. I find no regret in withholding the truth. Simply astonished. We were unaware, Mom whispered softly. I corrected her, saying, no, you didn't want to know. Whenever I attempted to discuss my work, you would divert the conversation elsewhere. Each time I extended an invitation for you to join me at the table, you would brush me aside. Yet the apartment, Tessa murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. The Civic. There were moments when I took it upon myself to cover the bill, believing, since you believed I was without means, I completed it for her. Did you find pleasure in that, Tessa? Embodying the essence of a triumphant sister? Is it the one who rescues? Her gaze fell, a rosy hue blooming on her cheeks. At the very least, she possessed the grace to appear contrite. Allow me to reveal something to you, I said with a serene demeanor, gently pressing a subtle button on the edge of the dining table. Overhead motorized panels gracefully parted, while high-resolution screens glided down with precision. A timeline emerged, contrasting the significant milestones of my journey with the dismissive words they would employ against me. 2010. This street art endeavor seems to squander the potential of your degree. Father. Outcome? Outcome? My inaugural collection of digital sculptures fetches an impressive $50,000. 2012. Leah. It is essential for you to pursue a stable career. Mother. Outcome? The company's valuation has reached an impressive $15 million in the year 2015. At the very least, one of us is thriving, Tessa. Outcome? I have finalized a partnership valued at $120 with a prominent technology company. 2018. What is crypto art? It appears to be a fraudulent scheme. Christopher. Outcome? My platform has surpassed 500,000 users and achieved $600 million in sales. 2022. We do not support online gimmicks, Dad's company. Outcome? The valuation of the company has exceeded $3 billion. Each and every remark, whenever your gaze fell upon me, as if I were pursuing a mere illusion, I responded, my voice unwavering. I recalled every detail, and I put it to use. My father took a deep breath. Why was this information withheld from us? I spoke those words because you never wished to listen. It was essential for you to understand that success is not defined by formal attire. It strays from your script, and at times, the individual you overlook can alter the entire course of events. I strolled to the periphery of the room, where glass walls encased an expanse of endless turquoise water. The most challenging aspect wasn't the act of concealing truths. As I observed you all revel in one another's triumphs, I was quietly crafting something beyond your perception. Mediocrity, Marcus uttered, his teeth clenched tightly. Indeed, I affirmed. You opted for caution. Your limits were defined there. Mine surpassed it. I glanced at Tessa. You paraded your six-figure salary as if it were a treasure beyond compare. That was crafted in the midst of a coffee break. Father rose to his feet. That is sufficient. We acknowledge our mistake, all right? I firmly stated, no, I seek no words of regret. I wish for you to grasp this fully. I pressed yet another button. The screens transitioned, unveiling the prototype of my newest invention. This is set to launch next month, a transformative shift in the creation, ownership, and valuation of art, with an estimated worth of $10 billion. I gazed upon each and every one of them. This time, you will witness it unfold before your very eyes. Cease the uncertainty. The atmosphere thickened with an oppressive stillness, a silence that enveloped the space as the last remnants of pretense faded away. My family remained still, grappling with the truth they had long evaded. At last, my mother uttered her words. We take great pride in you, Leia. We ought to have embraced our pride from the very beginning. Thank you, Mother, I said softly. However, my actions were not motivated by your sense of pride. I pursued it because it was my aspiration, my guiding vision. I surveyed the lavish surroundings they could no longer refute. And now it belongs to me. My empire. What happens now? Chris inquired softly. Now, I murmured, filling a glass with wine. At this moment we gather for dinner, united as a family. Yet, on this occasion we shall proceed according to my vision. Enough with the facade. There shall be no more concealment. I lifted my glass high, in pursuit of the truth. At long last, one by one, they raised their glasses. The initial jolt still lingered, yet a subtle transformation was underway. The remainder of the evening unfolded in a blur of exquisite culinary delights, fine aged wine, and tentative, yet comforting dialogue. After a decade and a half, they finally looked beyond the surface of my existence. They truly perceived my essence. As they finally withdrew to their suites, I lingered in the shadows, observing the moonlight waltz upon the undulating waves. Samantha materialized next to me, her voice a gentle whisper. Did it hold value? Memories of the timeline flooded my mind, their bewildered faces etched in my memory. The pride that once lay hidden, now revealed. Indeed, I acknowledged, though not for the reasons I initially believed. It had transcended the need to demonstrate their fallibility. It was a moment of ultimate liberation, completely authentic. A smile graced my lips, and on the morrow, we unveil the promise of what lies ahead. Their realm of mutual funds, corporate hierarchies, and cautious decisions was slipping away. The realm I had crafted. Engaging, revolutionary. It was merely the beginning. As the night deepened, I discovered a note quietly tucked beneath my door. The script of my father. I acknowledge my mistake. It transcends mere business. Concerning all matters, you transcended mere success. You transformed the landscape. I regret that I did not notice it earlier, Father. I positioned it in a frame next to the receipt from my inaugural digital sale. $50,000, a gentle nudge to recall the origins. As dawn broke the following day, my family convened around the breakfast table. Sentiments began to ease. A blossoming of curiosity. I came to a significant realization. Success transcends the mere act of proving others wrong. It revolves around validating your own beliefs. At times, the most delightful triumphs whisper rather than shout. There's a profound satisfaction in the quiet realization that you have created something truly remarkable. As the world busied itself with skepticism towards you, the vibration of my phone broke the silence. Urgent news. Thomson Interactive unveils a groundbreaking new platform. The future has come to pass. This time, they would bear witness to the events as they unfolded before their eyes. There shall be no further concealment. Enough with the facade. Only triumph, according to my own conditions. If my tale has reached your ears, I am eager to hear your thoughts. We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments section below. Share your thoughts on how you would navigate my situation. Would you persist even in the face of your family's disbelief? Would you choose to remain silent, or compel the world to pay attention when the moment is opportune? Your support carries a significance beyond what you may realize. Spread this video if you hold faith in the power of second chances, in the act of creating something formidable, even in the absence of an audience. And remember to subscribe, for this tale extends beyond my own. It speaks to those who have faced skepticism, been overlooked, or had their potential underestimated. And if you find yourself in pursuit of a dream at this moment, persevere. Some may find it amusing. Doubt may linger in their minds. They might label you as insane. Allow them. Transform their skepticism into your motivation. Construct in silence, flourish. When the moment arrives, allow the outcomes to convey their own story. Your vision requires no justification to anyone. Yet, there will come a day when you must honor your truth and demonstrate that you were indeed correct from the very beginning. What defines success? It's not about making the most noise. It revolves around the essence of being irrefutable. Now share with me, what dream do you hold on to fiercely?